God. Most High Christ. Mm-hmm. Bear with me 1 second, Israel. All right, bobbity. All right, Shalom Israel, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Katham, Yahweh Shemal, Thumb Bashem Yahushua, Priest and Officer 1000 Yediah, holding the class down tonight. It's the Brotherhood class. Now, understand this, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Today is the Brotherhood class. We're going to go over some Brotherhood. Had an excellent question by young man Chris. He asked, what is Brotherhood? And how can we overcome, that hatred for one another? That is a damn good question because a lot of our people, especially in the world, don't understand what brotherhood is. You have no idea. The thing is, man, as blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women, brotherhood, man, is knowing how to have that love for that fellow black, Latino, and First Nation man and woman. And that is a commandment according to our God. Like our God commanded us to love one another. And if we didn't love one another, we're going to go into that as well, we would be cursed. That our eyes would be evil towards one another. That's why you got the gang violence that's going on right now. Brothers hating each other, sisters hating each other. Fathers against sons, sons against fathers, mothers against daughters. Siblings against siblings. That's going on right now because we're not doing what our God said to do. But all throughout this Bible, the theme is, man, us coming back to our God and giving our love back to our power by keeping these commandments. And it starts with that. And then it's us loving one another. That's brotherhood. But let me give you some scriptures on that. Let me give what I told you to get first in Romans. And we're going to jump around. Give me Romans chapter 12 and start at verse 9. Again, also, too, before you read, I'll be answering y'all questions tonight. If y'all got any questions, type them in the chat. Any questions in the room, just raise your hand. Go ahead, brother. You got it.
This is Romans chapter 9, verse
12. I'm slacking. 12 and verse 9.
Romans chapter 12, verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
Let love be without dissimulation.
Let love be without dissimulation. What is dissimulation? Said, let love be without dissimulation. Alexa. You might not be plugged in. It's Tawab. We don't know a word I buy, look it up. It says, for let love be without dissimulation. You got it, I buy it? Read.
This is dissimulate, verb, to hide under a false appearance.
To hide under a false appearance. Let love be without that false appearance, without dissimulation. Which goes to show you this is a Black and Latino and First Nation book. What is the main problem that we have today? We show each other fake love. You got brothers in the world that claim that's down with you. That's sisters in the world that's claim that's here and with you. And let me tell you something. I understand it all too well. A lot of the times, man, us growing up and being around certain people by circumstance of what neighborhood you went to, what school you went to, because you've known them forever and you think that's my homie, you think that's my home girl, they're going to be down. But you're not going to know who your homie, who your home girl is until rough times come. And these rough times are here for Blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women. And we got to get back to having real love. Like you can't claim to love somebody and have a fake appearance to it. Like that's heavy, I find. Meaning you can't show no fake love. Like you can't be up in here, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Brakatha to me or I buy another brother in the truth, and then you treating Israel like garbage. You know what I mean? That's in the world. No, you got to pass that same brotherhood and sisterhood on to them. It says this, man, Romans chapter 12 and verse 9. Let love be without dissimulation. Now, what is love? I'll get this precept for you to show you what love is. I'm going to go right back to it to show you. Let love be without dissimulation. And what is love? Love is this. If you go to the book of 2 John, right, which we're about to go to. If you go to 2 John, chapter 1 and verse 6. For 2 John, chapter 1 and verse 6 says this. And this is love. This is love, that we walk after his commandments. Walking after the commandments is keeping them, keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments. That's love. And this is love, that we walk after his commandments. This is the commandment that we have heard from the beginning, that you should walk in it. And we have to keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments. That is what real love. And you can't do that fake. You can't be fake and wishy-washy with it. It's the same thing when it comes to that love for your brother and your sister. You gotta love Israel. You gotta love that Black, Latino, and First Nation man and woman, man. It says, let love be without dissimulation. Read on.
Abhor that which is evil.
Abhor that which is evil, man. What is abhor? Abhor, you have to be not only disgusted, like you have to not only be, you know what I mean, disturbed or feel violated, you know what I mean, and just have like the ultimate level of real hatred. You know what I mean? The type of hatred that just make you want to get violent. You know what I mean? Because abhor is the next level. Abhor and hate have two different meanings too. And you got to understand, you got to abhor that which is evil. You can't, as a Black, Latino, First Nation man, you can't stand, you cannot claim to love God and think you still going to celebrate your birthday. I'm going to break that down tonight, why we shouldn't be celebrating Halloween, Thanksgiving, and our birthdays. You have to abhor your birthday. You have to abhor Christmas. You have to abhor Thanksgiving. Like, you have to be like, yo, these things right here, man, they don't sit right with me. They don't sit right with our God. It's blasphemous. Abhor that which is evil. You're supposed to not be able to stand. You're supposed to hate homosexuality. You're supposed to hate whoredom and being whoremongers. Abhor that which is evil. Read on.
Cleave to that which is good.
You have to cleave to that which is good. What is that which is good? The good is this. The good is keeping the commandments. That's the good. That's the good. Doing what God said to do is good. And the evil, you'll find out, is disobeying God. Now read verse 10.
Verse 10, Romans chapter 12, verse 10. Be kindly affectioned one to another.
Be what?
Affection one to another.
Be kindly affection one to another. Meaning you have to know how to not only speak, but how to deal with one another again. Like as Blacks and Latinos, we got to start at square one. And the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, we doing that for Israel, man. We doing that for our people. We have to be kindly affection one to another. Learn how to talk to that fellow brother, man. Learn how to talk to that fellow sister. That's where it really starts. A lot of the times we don't know how to deal with one another, talk to each other. You know what I mean? You're always ready to have some animosity and some hatred and some foul shit to come out your mouth towards one another. We're supposed to be kindly affection. You have to love that Black and Latino and First Nation man and woman so much that you will watch what you say. Watch your mouth. Watch how you deal with them, man. That's why what happened with Draymond Green, man, was so evil with that brother Jordan Poole. Like, you know what I mean? That don't give you no right to walk up to the brother, you know what I mean, and punch him out in front of everybody, knock him out. Like, where's the brotherhood in that? Christ said, man, if you got an ought with a brother, pull him to the side. Pull him to the side. But no. That's why, man, it says be kindly affection one to another. The way we deal with one another is determines, man, if we really have love and brotherhood for each other. Because if we kindly affection one to another, you know what we wouldn't do? We wouldn't hurt each other. We wouldn't kill each other. You wouldn't say the wrong thing. You know what I mean? Even if you slipped up and said the wrong thing, you'd be like, oh, Salakia, my bad. Pull them to the side and be like, I apologize. Or if your brother or sister offended you, you would do that. Because we are ordered. This is what our God is telling us, that we have to be kindly affection one to another. Read on.
With brotherly love.
With what?
With brotherly love.
With brotherly love. Philadelphia claims to be the city of brotherly love. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. All the gun violence that's going on right now. Sister just got robbed, you know what I mean, a couple days ago. Brother just got murdered, man. One sister got her car jacked by some young boys. Man, it's rough in Philly right now, man. Death is in the air. Ain't no brotherly love in Philly except for the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under Commander GEN.YAHANNA, because we show brotherly love to one another. And we extend this brotherly love to our brothers and sisters that are in the world, man, that are still in that American and Babylonian mindset, man. We have to be kindly affection one to another with brotherly love. And you know what real brotherly love is? Correcting your brother, correcting your sister. That is what real brotherhood is about. Read on. With brotherly love, read after that.
In honor, preferring one another.
In honor, preferring one another. We got to prefer that fellow Black and Latino and First Nation man and woman. We got to prefer one another. And which is so heavy, right? In America, we prefer the heathen. We want to be African. We want to be Asian. We want to be Arabs, being in Islam, being in the Christian church with the oppressor. We can't do that. We have to prefer one another. Like you got to say, man, I prefer to be in this cult with these crazy ass niggas. That's what you got to do. And listen, man, your father, your mother, your rib, kids, everybody going to look at you like you crazy. But here's the thing. They said the same thing to Christ. And what they don't realize, you're showing them the best form of love, the best form of brotherly love, by not participating in them birthdays, by not participating in that Christmas, in that Thanksgiving. Because if you do what they do, guess what? Guess what? You won't be showing them brotherly love. And I'll give you an example of that, right? A lot of times when young brothers and sisters come up in here, right? Sometimes, you know what I mean, obstacles will be in your way. And this is why, you know what I mean, if you're a young officer, you know what I mean, up in this priesthood, man, you got to watch what you say, watch what you do, because some things you do might be a stumbling block towards another brother. And I'm going to go into that for a second. All right, Bob, read what you got.
Okay. This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 8 and verse 9.
Go ahead.
But take heed, lest by any means.
Take heed lest by any means. This is Paul speaking. Keep going.
This liberty of yours.
This liberty of yours, this liberty that we have being in this truth. Because there's going to be certain things, man, that Israel might not understand, especially coming in and being young. Keep going.
Become a stumbling block to them that are weak.
To become a stumbling block to them which are weak. I would be shocked if you understand what that means. I will be shocked. Anybody want to take a shot? Go ahead, brother.
Can I do an example?
Go ahead, I'll take it.
So say if someone is probably battling with alcoholism, we probably try to be careful to try to bring them around because he's trying to overcome that. Is that what it's saying?
Give this brother a hand because he on to it. I am impressed. I am impressed, brother. If I know you a young brother that struggles with alcohol, I'm not going to present alcohol to you, even though alcohol is lawful.
Right.
But it could be a stumbling block for you because at one point it can be unlawful if you are in danger of becoming a drunkard. You ain't supposed to be like that. Like I'll give you a prime example. Let's say you see me, you know what I mean? I'm walking with my kids. It is walking down the street, you know what I mean? And it just so happened to be Halloween. You know what I mean? Let's just say I'm just eating a candy bar. Maybe my kids is eating a candy bar, but they don't got no Halloween stuff. I'm like, damn, I'm eating candy. I'm not saying y'all can't eat candy on Halloween. I ain't saying that. But for some brothers that's weak, it might be a stumbling block. It's the same thing with like Thanksgiving. Like what the hell do I look like going over to my mother's house or auntie's house on Thanksgiving? Talk about, you know what I mean? Oh man, you know I don't celebrate this. You know what I mean? But pass the turkey and still being around that. Same thing with the Christmas. And something a brother or sister see you. That's an example, you know what I mean, of you know, causing your brother, you know what I mean, to fall. It'd be a stumbling block for them to be weak. That's why it's important, man, to really watch what we say and watch what we do. Because a lot of Israel may not understand. And that's real brotherhood. Like, and which is so heavy about it, what Paul is saying, man, because this is what he was taught by, you know what I mean, the Most High, and he was taught by our King, is that we have to be real careful at how we deal with each other, and just in case we may offend or cause another brother to fall because they may be weak. That's why we got to be strong for one another. Even the courtesy of that. I'll never forget Captain I.S.U.P.K, man. Captain I.S.U.P.K, you know what I mean, a couple years ago when I was a young man in all black. You was there. You remember when Captain I.S.U.P.K sat right here, you know what I mean? And we were sitting here, only two brothers in class in all black, barely troopers. Me and his brother right here, I was I.S.U.P.K. And Captain I.S.U.P.K broke this down to us, you know what I mean? Like why brotherhood is a weapon. Because this is the only weapon we have, man, in defense of everything that is around us. Like this is all we have. is that we know that we are the children of Israel, man, the Israelites of antiquity, that this truth, man, is important. It started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General GEN.YAHANNA. Like, we don't just say brotherhood is a weapon, man. We live it. Because this is all we have in defense of all the chaos and foolishness that's going on outside here in the world. That's why we got to be careful, man, not to, cause brothers, to sin or fall weak, and not have, stumbling blocks for our brother. That's why the Lord told us to be kindly affectionate one to another, in brotherly love, man, with brotherly love and honor and preferring one another. If I could, let me get one more. I'm going to get two more and I'm going to get off. Give me Mark chapter 12 and verse 30. Give me Mark chapter 12 and verse 30. And then that's the second part of your question, the hatred. Why do we, dislike each other like that? Like, Bob, you know what I want, Leviticus 19 and 17. But first, let me get Mark 12, Mark the 12th chapter, and start at verse 30. Let me hear verse 30, Baba Shaw.
This is Mark chapter 12, verse 30. And thou shalt love.
Matter of fact, read verse 29 first.
Mark chapter 12, verse 29. And Yahweh shall answer him, the first of all the commandments is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord.
Christ said, Shema Yasha Allah Yahweh Allah Hayanawa Yahweh God, which means, behold, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Precept for this is in Deuteronomy 6 and 4, man. Our God is one God, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. The God of the Arabs is not the God of Israel. The God of the Chinese and Japanese and the Samoans and Polynesians and East Indians, that ain't the God of Israel. The God of Israel is one Lord. His name is Yahweh. I pray you understand that. Let's keep reading.
Verse 30. And thou shalt love Yahweh thy God with all thy heart.
You got to love the Most High. Love Yahweh with all thy heart. Your heart is your mind. Like all this right here does, this just pumps blood. That's it. Your heart is right here. And believe it or not, man, I believe it's in Jeremiah where it says the heart is deceitful above all things. Your mind will play, shout out to Scarface, man. Your mind will play tricks on you. Like Satan to get up in that mind and then make it believe that, oh, it's worth it to sleep with that whore. Like Satan got up in some brother mind and he made a decision, to go over Jeffrey Dahmer's house. Like, goddamn, the mind is deceitful above all things. And who can know it? That's why we have to love the Lord with all our heart, all our mind. We got to have the commandments right here. Not what the so-called Jewish man do, putting the tassels, on his guy. I'm going to go into that a little later. I'm going to go into that in Kanye as well. I'm going to touch on that a little later. But you got to keep our God, these laws, statutes, and commandments right here, right in our mind. Let's keep going.
And with all thy soul.
With all thy soul, meaning with everything in us, man. All in our spirit, we got to love the Most High. Keep going.
And with all thy mind.
Same thing.
And with all thy strength.
All thy strength that is in your body and in your soul and your spirit, man. You got to love the Most High. You do. Read on.
This is the first commandment.
This is the first commandment. This is the first thing that we learn. That we got to keep God's commandments right here. Now, I wonder what the second is. Keep going.
Verse 31. And the second is like, namely this.
I wonder what that is.
Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Now, I came here because this is a beautiful precept, and Christians misconstrue this all the time. Because when it says love thy neighbor as thyself, is this talking about love the white man, love the oppressor, love the African, love the Asians? Of course we know it's not. But let me give you the precept to show you that this is not talking about loving other heathens, man. When it says love thy neighbor, it's talking about loving your brother, love your sister, and I'm going to prove it to you. The Bible says to prove all things. And it's also going to go into why we're not supposed to hate each other, why it is a sin to do so. And that's why what our God said in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, and reading on down from the 16th verse, we drop down to verse 54 and 56. When it speaks about our eyes being evil towards one another, that we would, that we hate the wife of thy bosom, which we shall leave, and the kids. That's what got me like that. Same thing with the sisters leaving the brothers, man. And leaving the kids and causing the babies the cross through the fire. Crossing through the fire, man, is it's in today's terms. And matter of fact, ain't even just today's terms. Even back then, crossing through the fire. I mean, when you hear about Molech and Baal, that's them following after the philosophy of these other gods. We cause our children to pass through that fire today by encouraging them to celebrate Halloween, by encouraging them to be drug dealers and whores and whoremongers and everything America wants our people to be. That's us causing them to go through the fire. But our God is directly against it. And I'm going to show you why, because it's a commandment. Read Leviticus chapter 19, and I believe it's verse 17. This part.
Okay. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 17.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart.
Thou shalt not what?
Hate thy brother in thine heart.
Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy mind. It is a sin to hate your brother in your mind, man. To hate that fellow black man. And it's easy to, because we've been conditioned to do so here in America, to where they teach us you're supposed to hate your brother. Why do you think, like one of the hardest things I realized that it is to do? I paid my mother a visit this past week. You know what I mean? And I'm tell you something, them Lifetime movies and them BET movies, man, like that shit is, slugging for the language, is depressing. Because every movie is a brother hating another brother, a sister hating another sister, man. Why do you think they promote that? Because they don't want us to love each other. They encourage the hatred between blacks and Latinos in that division. They're going to do it with the Black Panther movie, man. They're going to do it with this new stupid Wakanda Black Panther 2. They made Namor, who in the comic books is an oppressor, wasn't even Isupk, wasn't Mexican, but now you want to cause more division between blacks and Latinos when the Lord said, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart, in thy mind. Black man, Latino man, we are family. Nosotros somos familia. We are the same people, man. And they trying to cause that division between us, man, and drive a wedge between our people. But God said, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. You're not supposed to hate your brother in your mind, man. You're not supposed to look at that fellow brother and be like, oh, I hate you, man. I hate you, sister. It goes for you sisters, too. You ain't supposed to be looking at that sister, you know what I mean, with hatred in your mind because she got on the same dress, you know what I mean, or got on the same shoes, or y'all got the same husband. And yes, a man can have more than one wife. I can break that down, too. You're not supposed to hate one another in thy mind. Read on. And the Lord had to tell us this. Because why? Because we're doing it right now. Keep going, bud.
Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor. When it says thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, if your brother is going off, if your sister is doing the wrong thing, when it says thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, this is what you got to do. You have to correct them, man, because that's real love. If I see my brother messing up and slipping and falling weak, I'm going to help my brother. I'm going to help my sister. I'm going to correct them. That is a commandment from God. Read on. From God. Verse 18. Now read that last part and suffer sin upon them. And not suffer sin upon them. Don't suffer sin upon them. Don't wish evil upon your brother and your sister, man. Don't come up in this truth and wish evil on our brothers and sisters in the world, man. And I mean, what do I mean by that? Do not get me wrong. I understand that we all grew up very harsh. I do. I rarely meet a brother or sister that had a life that was rose pellets, you know what I mean, and sunshine and rainbows. I've never seen it. Doesn't matter how good, how much money you had. There's always tragedy that follows blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians because our people in the world are not keeping God's commandments. You're not in the UPK. But understand this, no matter what it was, it doesn't matter if your father wasn't in your life, if your mother wasn't in your life, if she didn't do the right thing or he didn't do the right thing, or if that woman hurt you, or if that brother hurt you, you got to forgive them, man. You got to let that go. And I'm going to explain why you have to do it. You have to forgive them for this reason, because we in the same hell. We in captivity, man. Like we struggling every day. How the hell can you expect the Most High to forgive us for every wicked thing we did when you can't forgive your father or your mother?
You can't forgive your brother or your sister, man. Chalk it up to the white man being the devil that the Bible speaks of. Don't suffer sin. Don't wish evil upon them. When Israel, let me tell you something, which is heavy. And go to show you why your pastor don't know the Bible, because I'm about to paraphrase one of your pastor's favorite precepts. When Christ said, turn the other cheek, he wasn't talking about Bill, Bob, and Fred, and Susan. Wasn't talking about the oppressor. Wasn't talking about the Africans or the Asians. Christ was talking about other Israelites, man. We got to learn to forgive one another. That's what turning the other cheek is. Forgiving your brother. Forgiving your sister. And we're going to go to that too, Bob. We're going to go to that too. How many times you got to forgive your brother and your sister, because that's heavy. Because we act like it's a limit on that, and it's not. You got to always forgive one another, man. I ain't saying you got to be in their face and all buddy and everything. You not killing them, you not laying hands on them is showing them mercy, man. Forgive them. Chalk it up to the oppressor just being the devil that the Bible speaks of. Don't suffer sin upon them. Read on. Come. Verse 18.
This is the book of Leviticus.
Are you good?
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 18.
Go ahead, we good.
Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people.
Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people. Meaning this, you're not supposed to avenge. You're not supposed to bear any grudge. Meaning you're not supposed to hold it in and be angry at your brother or sister or try to avenge a wrong that was done to you. You're not supposed to do that. The scriptures say, and I believe Paul said it, I believe it's in Romans or in Corinthians or Galatians, where it says, let not the sun, fall upon thy wrath. It's a time to be angry about something. I'm not saying if Israel don't do something to you, you're a little upset about it, it's all right. But don't be angry all damn day and night. When the sun go down, man, let it go. Let it slide. Let it pass, man. You're not supposed to let the sun go down upon your wrath. You're not supposed to avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people. Who's the children of thy people? The children of thy people are Mexicans, man, are Guatemalans, are Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Dominicans, Haitians, Jamaicans, El Salvadorians, Brazilians, the North American Indian, who's the First Nation, and the Seminole Indian, man, and the so-called Negro in America. We're the children of thy people, the Israelites of antiquity. We ain't supposed to be bearing no grudges towards one another. We got to let that go. You ain't supposed to be avenging what happened to you. Oh, that nigga did something to me in 85, 94. Let it go. Let it go. The oppressor's the devil, man. You got to get above that. Why you got to come up in these classes, man, and ask the right questions like the young brother did, man, which is heavy. We're not supposed to avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, because we're the children of thy people. Now, why didn't it say everybody? It didn't say everybody because not everybody is what? And you got to be in the class. As a matter of fact, read it, Ibad.
Okay.
Because the children of thy people are this right here. Keep going.
Okay. But thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Thou shalt what?
Love thy neighbor as thyself.
And your neighbor is the children of thy people, man. Your neighbor is that fellow black, Latino, and First Nation man and woman. The oppressor not your neighbor. African ain't your neighbor. Your neighbor is that fellow Israelite, man, that fellow black and Latino man and woman. Right. That's your neighbor. And we ain't supposed to bear no grudge. We ain't supposed to have no anger, no animosity. We ain't supposed to have that, man. We not. And when it comes to the forgiveness part, you got it, Ibad.
Okay.
Read that for me. Read what Peter said.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 18 and verse 21.
Now, this is Peter. Christ just got done breaking down, man. I can break it down for if y'all need me to, about pulling brothers to the side. And if the brother hear you, you gain the brother. And if he don't hear you, bring 2 or 3 more. Not 2, 3 or more of your homies, man. Come up, in the U.P.K, call for counsel, man, and we'll have a counsel about the matter. Now, and in that counsel, listen, Christ will be in the mix. He is. Because what's bound in heaven is also bound in earth. Now, Christ got amidst the teaching that, to Peter, the other disciples. And this is what Peter said. Read.
Then came Peter to him and said, Look, how oft shall my brother sin against me?
Peter said, how often shall my brother sin against me? Read on.
And I forgive him.
And I forgive him. How often should my brother sin against me and I forgive him? I mean, how many times can my brother do me dirty? How many times can my sister do me wrong before I can not forgive them no more? Read on.
Till 7 times.
Peter is like, now my Lord, now out of wine, Yahawashah, Salaki, my Lord. You mean to tell me so I can forgive them up until 7 times? Because you know that nigga, he gonna keep doing it. Keep going.
Verse 22. Jesus saith unto him, I say not unto thee until 7 times.
He said, Christ cut it. Christ said, I say not unto thee 7 times. No, not 7 times, Peter. Keep going.
But unto 70 times 7.
70 times what?
7.
Christ said, not unto these 7 times, but 70 times 7. In essential, and he's not talking about the actual 70 times 7. Christ is saying, always forgive your brother and your sister, man.
Right.
Always do that. We always got to forgive one another. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why it's important. And you know what? It's been a while since I went into it. Let's keep going, everybody. I believe it's going to go into the parable about the servant.
Okay.
Let's read that, Bubba Quashah, before I go into my topic.
Therefore, verse 23. Therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king.
Now, Christ is getting ready to cut them further. He said, therefore, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a certain king. Let's keep going. Read.
Which would take account of his servants.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 24. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought unto him.
Now, this king, right? He got a bunch of servants, and one servant owes him money. He went in the books and said, so-and-so still owe. Let's find out. Keep going.
Which owed him 10,000 talents.
How much did he owe?
10,000 talents.
This brother owed the king 10,000 talents. A lot of you brothers, if another brother owed you $10, that's a death sentence. This brother owed his Lord, his king, 10,000 talents. That's like, imagine if a brother owed you $10,000 or $50,000 or $100,000. You ain't trying to hear nothing. You're trying to get that money back. You're like, hold up, I loaned you a lot of money. Read on.
And verse 25, but for so much as he would not to pay,
he ain't got it. For so much he ain't ought to pay. He ain't got that money. Like a lot of us, we broke, baby. Keep going.
His Lord commanded him to be sold.
He said, since you can't pay, nigga, you gonna be sold. I'm gonna make my money. I'm gonna get my money back some type of way. Keep going.
And his wife and the children.
And I buy the wife and the kids. He said, listen, Lord, man, this king said, I'm gonna sell you, your wife, and your kids. I'm getting my money back out. I pray you understand that. Keep going.
And all that he had, and payment to be made.
And all that he had, the TV, the PS5, the Jordans, all that, I'm getting my money back. And that's how a lot of you brothers is. You ruthless. You like, listen, that debt get passed on. I've got to get this money back. I gave it to you. Read on.
And payment to be made.
Mean you gonna pay what you owe. Keep going.
Verse 26. The servant therefore fell down and worshiped him.
The servant fell down, man, got on his knees and worshiped and said, Lord, please, my Lord, please, out of Warren. Keep going.
Said, Lord, have patience with me.
Have what?
Patience with me.
He said, have patience with me. Have patience, my Lord. Sir, please. I don't want to be sold. I don't want you to sell my babies. I don't want you to sell my wife. Don't sell all my possessions. I'll pay you. Please, my Lord. Be patient with me. Read on.
And I will pay thee all.
He said, I will pay my debt. Just give me, I just need a little bit more time. Keep going.
Verse 47. Then the Lord of that servant was moved with compassion.
Listen, the Lord of that servant, man, the king, he was moved with such compassion. He said, damn, Dad, I was getting ready to sell you, the kids, the wife, take all your possessions. Damn. He was moved with compassion, had mercy on the brother. That's the thing, man. A lot of us don't have that compassion and mercy towards one another now because you hate your brother and your sister. And as I broke down earlier, that's a sin according to God. You got to be like this brother, this king, man. He had compassion. Put that in your mind, man, and be more courteous to how Israel is out there in the world, man. Right. You see your brother or sister struggling out there, man. Don't be quick to down them. Don't be quick to say, oh, you did this to yourself. Don't do that, man, because America messed us up, man.
Right.
The oppressor put drugs in our communities, man, the guns, everything. Like the oppressor and these heathens, man, hate us and got real busy on us, man, because we disobeyed our God. Have compassion on that fellow Black, Latino, and First Nation man and woman, man. Like, and it's not just having compassion with us in here, man. You got to have compassion with our people out there in the world. And that's what separates us from these fake Israelite groups. Right. Because they didn't have compassion for Joy Morgan. They didn't have compassion for our sister, man, that they murdered by letting that African in there. They don't have compassion for one another going in them strip clubs, you know what I mean, in Atlanta. They don't have compassion for one another saying that it's all right to rape little girls. There's fake Israelites out here, you know what I mean, GMS to say it's all right to rape little girls, man. They speak with 9 and 8 and 12-year-old girls, man, wickedness. You don't have compassion. But we have that compassion here in the I.S.U.P.K and the Commander General YAHANNA, man. That's why we're the real priests and prophets of the Lord. Right. And if you coming up in this truth, man, you better learn one thing. You better learn what real brotherhood is, man. It starts with having compassion on Israel. Because the Lord had compassion on us by giving us Christ, so Christ could die so we can come back to the Most High. Think about that before you look at that brother and sister in the world struggling with disgust. Right. Have compassion on them, man. Don't suffer sin upon them. Read on.
So God, and lose him, and forgave him the debt.
He forgave him the debt. He said, yo, man, I know you owe me 100 G's. I know you owe me 10 G's, 50 G's. Don't even worry about it. You don't owe me nothing no more. You good. I apologize for my wickedness, for getting ready to sell you and everything and do you dirty. He had compassion and forgave that brother. Oh, it ain't over. Keep going, iPod.
Okay.
You would think that this servant, right, that had this happen to him, that he would be compassionate himself, that he would be courteous, that he would say, damn, man, I ain't gonna give it to y'all. Keep going.
Okay. Verse 28. But the same servant went out and found one of his fellow servants.
Now, this same servant, right, that owed 10,000 talents, you was gravely in debt. He found a brother under him that owed him some money. Keep going.
Which owed him an 100 pence.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine? You owed the king 10,000 talents. You owed the king $10,000. This brother owe you what, 100 pence? He owe you $100? And you want to go step to him? He's wrong for even stepping to him. Right. He's dead wrong. Listen, man, he was supposed to be when that servant saw him. He'd be like, I'm going to have that money, my Lord. He'd be like, what money? Don't worry about it. But let's keep going.
Oh, God. And he laid hands on him.
He did what?
Laid hands on him.
I'll tell you something. A lot of y'all brothers have laid hands on a lot of niggas, man, for less. I know I-S-U.P.K has. Salagi, I'm joking, of course. Yeah, I mean, he laid hands on him. Goes to show you, this ain't Black and Latino book. It says he laid hands on him. He said, you owe me 100 pence. You owe me $100, brother. Not remembering that he owed 10,000 talents. Like, if I owed somebody $10,000 and I got forgiven of that debt, don't nobody owe me nothing. Like, for real, it's a lot. That's just me. Read on.
Oh, God. And took him by the throat.
He took him by the throat. He took him, gripped him up like, listen, nigga, you gonna give me my money. Well, that 100 pence, I need that $100. Keep going.
Oh, God. Pay me that thou owest.
Pay me what thou owest. What that sound like in today's world? Pay what you owe. Run it. Read on.
Oh, God. Verse 29. And his fellow servant fell down at his feet.
Don't this seem familiar? Now, this brother under him, he got down on his knees. He fell to his feet. Read on.
Oh, God. And besought him, saying, have patience with me.
And said the same thing he said to the king. He said, my Lord, please, sir, have patience with me. I'm going to give you that $100. I needed it. I'm hurting right now. I'm going to pay you, sir. Please. Read.
Come, God, and I will pay thee all.
He said, I will pay thee all, man. I got you. I just need a little bit more time. You think this brother had compassion? You think he was moved with compassion and said, "Oh man, don't worry, you don't owe me nothing"? Let's find out.
Verse 30. And he would not.
He would not. He said, "No, man, you're gonna give me that $100. I ain't trying to hear that." Read on.
Okay. But went and cast him into prison.
He threw him in jail, man. He threw that poor brother in jail because he owed him $100. He must have forgot that him, his wife, and kids was about to get sold because he owed 10,000 tellers. You owe $10,000. I'm lowballing it. It may be 100,000, 50,000. Keep going.
So till he should pay the debt.
He said, "You're gonna be locked up till you're gonna be able to pay this debt." Keep going.
So when his fellow servants saw what was done,
the other servants was like, "Hold up, didn't he owe 10,000 to the king? And he threw that brother in jail for $100? Oh no, that's messed up, man. That's messed up." They was like, "Man, wait till the king hear about this. Wait till our Lord hear about this." Read.
They were very sorry.
They were sorry. They said, "Damn, Salakia, man, that brother ain't shit." Keep going.
And came and told unto their Lord.
Now they told the Lord. They told the king. He said, "Hold up, let me go tell our Lord. We'll tell what happened." Read.
All that was done. Verse 32. Then his Lord, after that, he called him.
He called him. He said, "Okay." He did what? He said, "The brother I forgave 10,000 talents." He went and got a brother that owed him 100 pence and threw him in jail. And that brother said, and he dropped down to his knees and asked for forgiveness and to be patient, and he wouldn't have it, and I had it for him. Oh, I got something for that brother. I have something for you. Best believe it. Read.
Said unto him, "O thou wicked servant."
Oh, thou what?
Wicked servant.
Don't be that wicked servant. Don't be that brother. Keep going.
I forgave thee all that debt.
He said, "I forgave you of everything of that debt. I forgave you all that debt." Keep going.
Because thou desirest me.
Because thou desires me. He said, "You came to me in humbleness and meekness, man. You know what I mean? And I had compassion. You should have had the same compassion for that brother." Keep going.
Verse 33. Shouldst not thou also have had compassion on thy fellow servant?
He said, "Shouldn't thou also have had compassion on thy fellow servant?" He said, "You were supposed to have compassion on that man under you that owed you, but you didn't. And now you got to pay." Keep going.
Even as I had pity on thee.
Even as I had pity on thee. Man, I pitied you. I let you slide. But now, read on.
Verse 34. And his Lord was wroth.
His Lord was wroth. He was angry. He was angry with this brother. Read on.
And delivered him to the tormentors.
Oh, Lord, he delivered him to the tormentors. He delivered him to the tormentors. Like, brother, imagine, you know what I mean? Imagine, you know what I mean, a brother forgive you or something, and then you go and do the next brother dirty, and then you get delivered to the tormentors. Next thing you know, you got to go have a nice conversation with Ibad and Kalakazar. You don't want to have a nice conversation with them. That they the tormentors. Salakia. You know what I mean? Salakia. Keep going.
Oh God. Till he should pay all that was due unto him.
He said, "Now I'm gonna deliver you to the tormentors. Now you going in jail. Now you about to get tormented until you pay that whole 10,000. What's the point of this? Read.
Verse 35. So likewise shall my heavenly Father do also unto you, if ye from your hearts forgive not everyone his brother trespass.
Christ said, like unto our heavenly Father, like unto our God, like unto Yahweh, how he forgave us, we have to forgive our brothers and sisters. How can you expect the Most High to forgive us for what we do if we can't forgive one another? That's why you can't bear any grudge. That's why you can't avenge. Because we're the children of thy people. That's why when the Christ was reiterating, we have to love thy neighbor as thyself, love thy brother, love thy sister as thyself. And let me explain something to you, man. You don't love one another if you expecting to still celebrate Christmas or Halloween or your birthday. You don't. You don't. And it shows. Does that answer your question, brother? Most High in Christ. And to expound on a little bit more, to go into my topic. You know how you know you don't love your brother or your sister? If you'll compromise and say, "Oh, You know what I mean? I know birthdays is wrong, but for you, I'll still wish you a happy birthday. Like I was rapping with a sister earlier, man, and she was perplexed by it. She could not believe, you know what I mean, that she was like, well, my birthday come along, you're not gonna party with me or say happy birthday to me? I'm like, no. Right. Like Salaki. She ended up respecting it, but I told her, I said, I'll break it down for you tonight. And I am, because birthdays are satanic. Right. Birthdays is not something, and not just birthdays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, like I'm gonna go into all that, you know what I mean, and show you why it ain't no brotherhood in that and why you're not supposed to do it. Because we all know a pastor, we all know an imam that has a big birthday party, that goes out there and celebrates and has that bachelor party or whatever and go to the strip club. I'm going to show you all that in the Bible. But first, let me show you that it's evil, that it's wrong. Let me give you that first. I get me Ecclesiasticus. Give me Ecclesiasticus chapter 33 and verse 7. And then, young man Chris, give me Jeremiah chapter 20 and verse 14. Give me Jeremiah chapter 20 and verse 14 first. Let me get that first. Again, if y'all got any questions, I'll break them down and answer them for you. But first, let me get Jeremiah, the 20th chapter, and let me get the 14th verse. Just to show you, right, that birthdays is not something that Israelites celebrated. Like, it's not our custom. Like, it's not our custom to be, oh, happy birthday. Oh, let me give you a gift because you're 20 or 30 or 40 or whatever. No, that has never been our custom. And I'm going to show it to you in the Bible. Right. Let me know when you got it, brother. The book of Jeremiah, the 20th chapter and the 14th verse.
Jeremiah.
Yeah, but let me get a little bit more of my strong and Sprite. Okay. And some ice, the water. Okay. Go ahead, brother.
Jeremiah chapter 20, verse 14.
Go ahead.
Cursed be the day wherein I was born.
Cursed be what?
The day that I was born.
Cursed be the day wherein I was born. Sounds like to me, and this is plain right here. It says, cursed be the day wherein I was born. Meaning, do I have to break this down? Do I have to explain it? Like, cursed be the day wherein I was born. Man, ain't nothing special about my birthday. As a matter of fact, cursed be the day where I was born. I mean, we didn't give a damn about birthdays. That's a heathen custom. Everybody, every year, like, brother, tell your wife that you're not getting her a birthday gift. You're going to be living in the barracks with the brothers. You're going to be living with me. She's going to throw you out. You ain't going to be in there. Say you're not getting no birthday gifts for the kids and no cake and nothing like that, man. But the Bible says, cursed be the day wherein I was born. Meaning, ain't nothing special about this day. As a matter of fact, cursed be this day. Go ahead.
Let not the day wherein my mother bare me.
Let not the day wherein my mother bare me, meaning the day you was born, read on, be what? Be blessed. It says, cursed be the day wherein I was born, and let not the day wherein my mother bare me be blessed. And it ain't no blessing about you being, first of all, a lot of you dummies, right? You could drop this. Give me Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 1. A lot of you dummies, right? What I buy? A lot of you dummies believe that, oh, because I was born on September 3rd or 4th, you know what I mean? You know, and so-and-so and so-and-so, that I'm a Virgo rising, Libra departing. I don't even know what the hell that stuff means. You get caught up in that astrology. All of it is garbage. It don't mean nothing. Like, that's a cursed day. Like, we don't forget the book, man. Forget the book. But the Church of Satan even said that one of the high holy days that they have in the Church of Satan, Ibad, is your birthday. Because essentially you're making yourself a god to be worshipped on that day. And that's in the Bible too. And I'll show it to you. Ain't nothing special about the day you was born. Ain't nothing special about it. Come on, man. Come on, Israel. We got to stop. We got to stop with this foolishness. And I read you a precept about the Bible that's clear as day. For you Christians out there, Salakia. Birthdays are a heathen custom. That's something that the Egyptians and the Africans celebrated. Bob, before you get me the one in Ecclesiasticus, I believe it's in Genesis. Give me Genesis give me Pharaoh's birthday. It's Genesis 20, and I want to say Genesis 40 and 20. Yeah, read Genesis 40 and verse 20. But first, let me get Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 1. Like, that's a heathen custom, man. That's something that the Egyptians did. Matazariah, Mizraim in the Hebrew, man. The so-called, Africans. That's something that they did. They celebrated birthdays, not Israelites. We didn't give a damn. Because it's only one that should be blessed, and that's the Holy One of Israel. That's our God.
Wow.
Read.
Oh God. This is the book of Genesis, the 40 verse 20.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass the third day, which was Pharaoh's birthday.
Now, Pharaoh's birthday, which was the third day, read on.
That he made a feast unto all his servants.
He made a what?
A feast unto all his servants.
Damn, does that not sound familiar to y'all? On Pharaoh's birthday, he made a feast for all his servants. What do you do on your birthday? You have cake, ice cream, you go get food, you get glorified, you sit there at the big side of the table, everybody's looking at you. That's in the Bible, Locke. That's in the Bible. This is something that the Africans did. We didn't do this. It says that in Genesis 40 and verse 20, and it came to pass the third day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast unto all his servants. On Pharaoh's birthday, he said, hey, let's get down, let's have a big dinner. Let's celebrate this. Listen, man, we ain't supposed to be doing this. We not. Keep reading.
And he lifted up the head of the chief butler. And of the chief baker among his servants. And
glorified, like, oh, I want to thank, I want to thank the chief butler and the chief baker for making this blessed food, this blessed fufu. Salaki for saying blessed. Ain't nothing blessed about fufu. I don't know how to, this is off topic. You got to let me have this one. Ain't nothing to be, Salaki for saying blessed. Fufu is disgusting out. I'm saying it, man, because I don't know what Africans eat. They eat fufu. That is nasty. It is disgusting. He said, blessed be this food that we eat today. The fufu, the jollof rice, and all that garbage, man. Says up, man, and all the other monstrosities that they eat. Africans eat one another's. Africans, along with the oppressor and that Jeffrey Dahmer, they eat each other. They get into cannibalism. Who knows what was on that table? I just know it was unlawful. That's all I got to know. But he's lifting up the head of the chief baker and the chief butler. Giving praise unto them for this glorious feast that they're getting ready to have. You'll thank the restaurant staff for having you and for the food, sing happy birthday and all that garbage. The Egyptians did it. And as a matter of fact, I got another one for you. That's in the New Testament. Ibad, give me, you know what, young man Chris, give me Matthew. No, Ibad, you can get it. Give me Matthew chapter 14 and verse 6. Give me that. And then young man Chris, then I'm going to come to you in Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 1. And then I'm going to come back to Ecclesiasticus, Ibad.
Okay. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 14 and verse 6. But when Herod's birthday was kept.
When whose birthday?
Herod's birthday.
When Herod's birthday was kept. Let me tell you who Herod was. Herod, was an Edomite. He was an Idumean. Idumeans were Edomites. Esau, Ishar in the Hebrew, the devil that the Bible speaks of. Herod would be a so-called Caucasian man. He was hunting, for Christ. He was trying to kill our king because he was leader at that time, of Rome. Now, one of the leaders of that time, man, of Rome. It says, by then, Herod's birthday was kept. Now, Herod is having a birthday party. The oppressor's having his birthday. Keep reading.
Okay. The daughter of Herodias danced before him.
The daughter of Herodias danced what?
Danced before them.
Danced before them. Now, on this devil's birthday, he had Herodias' daughter dance before him. Y'all brothers know on y'all birthday, y'all like to go to those establishments for them women to dance for you and dance on you. You know what I'm talking about. That's why the Bible says in Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 11, there is no new thing under the sun. That's all pagan, man. The birthday celebration, Herod having Herodias' daughter dance for him. You think, oh, I'm going to go have a birthday party in the strip club and get that whore to dance on me and dance for me. Man, listen, that's a heathen custom that we should not be partaking in. Read.
And pleased Herod.
And it pleased Herod, man. And it pleased Herod. And guess what? And what was just so heavy, if you read further down, she's dancing for him, and he's like, man, what do you want? Ask this whore, what do you want? And she said, I want John the Baptist's head. And they end up cutting John the Baptist's head off, man. God damn. Cut a brother's head off for an oppressor's birthday. Ain't that what every oppressor wants on his birthday? To kill a brother? Because John the Baptist was a brother of the tribe of Levi, man. God damn. That's a rough fate out. Goes to show you, man, that these are heathen customs. The dancing, you know what I mean? The girls hopping out the cake and everything and all that garbage. That started, you know what I mean, with the oppressor and the Romans, man. Because Herod had Herodias' daughter dance for him. We read, you know what I mean, in Genesis that the Egyptians, the Africans, Matazarium in the Hebrew, Mizraim, you know what I mean? Those Africans, man, living in mud huts in the South and North Sudan right now, because they're the real Egyptians. That's their custom. That's their culture. Let them have birthdays. We ain't supposed to be celebrating birthdays, man. We not. Now, if I could, let me get Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 1. Then I buy, let me get your scripture.
It's Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which Yahweh speaketh unto you.
Hear the word of the Lord, of the Most High Yahweh speaks unto us. Read on.
O house of Israel.
O house of what?
Israel.
O house of Israel. Meaning the Lord is only dealing and talking to Israel, man. Read on.
Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen.
Learn not what?
The way of the heathen.
Learn not the way of the heathen. Learn not the way of the heathen. Because what we got to realize, man, which is just so heavy about it, we're not supposed to learn these heathens' ways, man. Birthdays and the celebration of birthdays is heathen customs and culture. It's not something that we did. The reason why we do it now is because we're following after the heathen. But the Lord said, learn not the way of the heathen. Any more?
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. What does that mean where it says, be not dismayed at the signs of heaven? Meaning this, man. Meaning this. You're not supposed to be looking up to the stars, being in astrology, that Pisces, Aquarius, Leo, and that garbage. A lot of you stupid bitches, slucky for my language, a lot of you ignorant sisters of the truth don't realize that it doesn't matter when you were born or your potential spouse was born. You wanted to be a whore, not because it said you were going to be a whore because you're a Pisces, because you just wanted to be a whore and you can't control your lust. That's all. That's all. And astrology is fake. It's not real. Like, you'll conform your entire personality off of what some oppressor said, and that is sad. Like, I had a sister tell me, my horoscope said that when I meet the love of my life, I would have on pink socks. I said, so how many times do you wear pink socks? It's like, well, every day. I said, I pray the Lord had sent you a right brother in the U.P.K. on a day where you ain't got no socks on in the summertime. I pray there's a different color just to prove your dumb ass wrong. But Salakia, but goes to show you. I told this one time, this is especially good for the soul. I was like, listen, I read my horoscope one day. She was like, what, Yadai? I was like, it said I would breathe today. She was like, and I'm sitting here like this dumb Salakia. Read no. Astrology is garbage, man. Right. Your birthday ain't nothing to celebrate. Like, you ain't supposed to be looking up to the sky and worshiping the sun, moon, and stars and all that nonsense. And as a matter of fact, I got another precept for y'all, man. Let me get young man Chris, give me Deuteronomy, right? Give me Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 10. Because this is what you got to realize. And this is I paraphrased this earlier, But I want to break this down a little bit further on why we're not supposed to be doing none of this wickedness. Not just the birthdays, but the Christmas, the Halloween, the Thanksgiving, the drug dealing. This precept right here is about to kill all that. And why we can't do it. Deuteronomy chapter 18 and read verse 10.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 10. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire.
I broke this down earlier. There should not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or daughter to pass through the fire. Let me explain what that means today. That today, you're causing the kids, the babies, to pass through the fire by allowing them to go trick or treat, by celebrating their birthday, by encouraging them to be all they can be in America. Like, we live in such a wicked society. Men like LeVar Ball is demonized. He's demonized. Now, I don't agree with everything the brother says, man, but the brother is a good father. He loves his sons and got all three of his sons in the NBA. You don't hear about them, you know what I mean, messing around, you know what I mean, with drugs and nothing like that, and doing other nonsense. They got to leave them oppressive women alone, and so does LeVar Ball. They got to leave those oppressors alone. But damn, it's like that brother got his sons in the NBA, and they hated him for it. But you'll praise Dwayne Wade. Right. You'll praise Dwayne Wade for allowing his son to be a girl. Dwayne Wade is passing his son to pass through the fire. Right. He's allowing Zion Wade. I'm not going to call him Zion because he's a goddamn boy, man. And he'll always be his son. He's causing his son to pass through the fire. And our God said not to do that. You allowing our babies to celebrate Halloween, you're causing them to pass through the fire. You bringing them a birthday card or saying happy birthday to them or just giving them cake and ice cream, no matter how small you may think it is everything to our God. And he said not to do it. Learn not the way of the heathen, man. Learn not the way of the heathen. And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, man. You looking up to the sun, moon, and stars, man, trying to get an answer through astrology and all that other garbage. A lot of you dumb sisters burning sage, going outside with your shoes off. You know what I mean? You're not even real vegans. You're just using it as a Facebook and Twitter trend on Tumblr. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not making this up. You causing the babies to pass through the fire. And to speak on the Halloween thing I buy, how in the hell you going to tell our kids, right? And y'all do this. You do this every day. You tell them babies, don't talk to strangers. For 364 days out the year. But on one day, October 31st, you're going to allow your baby to go to Dahmer's house. And not only get fentanyl laced candy, but to possibly lose an arm or a leg. You are a terrible parent, man. You're causing the babies to pass through the fire. The babies here in I.S.U.P.K. won't be celebrating Halloween. We won't be celebrating Halloween. We're not going to be celebrating our birthdays or Christmas or none of that garbage. I pray you understand. We're not going to celebrate the mass genocide of the North American Indian, the First Nation, and the Seminole Indian man and woman, because they are our family, man, of the tribe of Reuben and the tribe of Gad. I pray you understand that, man. You causing the babies to pass through the fire, man, with these wicked holidays, man, and celebrating your birthday, man. How evil and wicked can you be? Read on.
Or that use of divination or an observer of times.
Or that use of divination or an observer of times. The divination and the observer of times. You ever see that movie Ghost? Whoopi Goldberg and that one devil? The one devil that died and his girlfriend is being stalked by some killer. And he has to go to Whoopi Goldberg and she's an enchantress, a divination. You know what I mean? She's in divination. She's like Lady Cleo with the crystal ball and everything. That's what that's talking about. Being an observer of time. And you had men of Baal, and like you got people that's in the Christian church and Muslim mosques who do this to this day, trying to follow the moon and the stars. A lot of you fake Israelites love to worship the moon. You can't be an observer of times, man. The Lord created these times and these seasons, man. And which is important is that they use divination to this day and being observers of times, man. You can't get caught up in that astrology. You can't be following after what the heathens follow. Keep reading. Hey, shalom, sir, Lord of Christ. So, like, you went to class? No, I got the good stuff back there.
You do?
Oh yeah. I say you do too.
Oh, you want to swap out a cup, Pittsburgh?
Oh, it's cup for a cup, yeah. Oh, here you go, sir. It's about water, sir. Water. But listen, you get caught up in that divination of being an observer of times, man. You getting up in that astrology. Like y'all got me going off my topic and going further into stuff. Give me where the prophets of where Elijah came up against the prophets of Baal. Give me that. Because that's what's going on today. That's all they are in that Christian church and Muslim minds. That's all that silly rib that we got. We all got a rib that believe in that garbage, or a sister or a homegirl that thinks she's an enchantress, that thinks she can read the sun, moon, and stars and determine your personality. You know what I mean? Because, watch, sir, that think they can determine whatever by reading your horoscope when that bitch don't even know what she want to eat. Salaki for the language. Has no idea what she want to eat. But you mean to tell me you can tell by my sign what my personality is and what's going to happen in the future. But you didn't see my other rib coming, did you? The one that's going to follow the Lord. That's the one that's going to obey. Salaki. The one that's going to do, you know what I mean, and do what she's supposed to do. Let's keep reading.
Or an enchanter or a witch.
Or an enchanter or a witch. I broke down the enchanter. What is the witch? I'll explain to what the witch is. You know what a modern day witch is? It ain't hocus pocus. It ain't Harry Potter and Draco Malfoy. Witches today are drug dealers. A drug dealer is a witch. You whipping up, you know what I mean? You whipping up, cooking up that crack, getting that heroin and all them other drugs, man, lacing that weed with fentanyl. That's potions, man. You are a witch and don't even know it. You have no clue. You're a witch, if you sell drugs and you're a drug dealer. You are. And if you abuse drugs, man, and use and smoke weed or smoke cigarettes or use heroin or cocaine, guess what? You under a spell. And don't even know it. So I can keep going.
Or a charmer or a consulter with familiar spirits.
Or a charmer or a consultant with familiar spirits. Now, the charmer or consulter also falls in what I was breaking down with Whoopi Goldberg, man. I'll never forget. You was here when 12 Show General Mayaka Allah broke that down, man. That you got, you know what I mean, people out here, and what's the name? Captain Shapar broke this down. The brother, violin. You got some brothers that actually have gifts. You know what I mean? That can see certain things. You know what I mean? And they have these gifts. And the thing is, they use it for the wrong thing. Like Baalim did. The Lord had to let Baalims, you know, Baalims, you know what I mean, donkey talk to him. Because the Chinese, the Moabites came to Baalim to try to curse us, man. And Baalim was going to do it, but he was reluctant. But then the Lord told him, man, don't do it. And then when he finally took that money, he had that brother's donkey stop, flick him up, and turn and speak to him. He was like, all right, like that's rough. That's a rough one. But that's the charmer, that's the consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard or a necromancer. The wizard and necromancers, man, going further deeper into, you know what I mean, how brothers and sisters are drug dealers, man, whipping up them drugs. You know what I mean? The necromancer, you know what I mean, and dealing with the familiar spirits, trying to talk to the dead. Like that's what happened with Saul. Saul went to a woman with a familiar spirit to speak to Samuel. And let me tell you something. The Lord has an incredible sense of humor, right? The Lord sent that angel down and said, go ahead and mess with Saul. Make it seem like he's talking to Samuel, when in reality it was an angel the Lord sent to, you know what I mean, to mess with Saul. But Saul wasn't supposed to consult with that woman with a familiar spirit, because the woman with the familiar spirit said, King Saul put out a decree, and it's in the law that women with familiar spirits or men with familiar spirits that do this divination and this garbage should be killed. And then when the angel revealed to that woman with the familiar spirit that she was talking to Saul, she's like, you liar. And then Saul lost the kingdom for it, man, by not being, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, goes back to brotherhood, man, because Saul didn't know how to be a brother to David. And that can happen to you, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. That can happen to us. That's why in Romans 15 and verse 4, where it says, you know what I mean, that all things written aforetime was written for our learning. through faith and comfort of the scriptures that we might have hope. That's why the Lord ain't do away with the law, statutes, and commandments, man. He ain't do away with this brotherhood because if Christ did away with the law, Christ did away with brotherhood. And Christ was the ultimate brother. And he requires us to be that ultimate brother too. I pray you understand. Like, you get caught up in that divination and being an observer of time, man, and get caught up in that Halloween and that Christmas, you know what I mean, and celebrating these birthdays. Guess what? It will be our end. Right. It'll be our end. And you'll be surprised, like so many of our brothers and sisters, man, fall into that trap because they may have numbers. I know everybody's in the Christian church, but here's the thing. Everybody's in the Christian church now, right? They got more than 144,000. We should have been out of here years ago, long before the year 2000, long before the 90s and the 80s, long before the 60s, because everybody's a Christian, right? The number of Christians exceeds 144,000. It's trillions of Christians on the earth, man. But it goes to show you, man, the Lord is looking for a special, particular types of brothers, man, that are going to put off the world, man, and put on, you know what I mean, which is righteousness, to stand up in this truth. We got to be like these brothers, man. We're about to read about a brother that went up against this garbage, man, that went up against this witchcraft. You got what I asked for, Ibad?
Okay.
Read.
This is the book of 1 Kings, 18 and verse 17. And it came to pass, when Ahab saw Elijah, that Ahab said unto him, Art thou he that troubleth Israel?
Ahab was king of Israel. If I'm not mistaken, Ahab was also the one that married Jezebel, right? That's right. I went over this last week. But Ahab married a heathen woman, man. Goes to show you, married some African woman. And what I was breaking down last week, man, or last time I was teaching, which heavy about it, every time he would see Elijah, like, are you the one that's troubling Israel? You're my enemy. Could you imagine having so much pride and faith in the oppressor society that you will tell a priest and prophet of God, you're my enemy? Are you the one that troubleth? You troubling Israel? Are you the one that's telling Israel that they can't marry heathens? Are you the one that's telling Israel that they can't celebrate birthdays? You the one that's telling Israel, you know what I mean, they got to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. You need to understand where Ahab is coming from. It's coming from a very wicked spot, man. It's coming from a wicked spot, a wicked place that we cannot continue to do. So many of our people get caught up in that to this very day. That's why that question you asked earlier, Ak, was heavy. Because we have that same animosity towards each other right now outside of these walls, man, outside of the UPK. And that's why we got to extend this brotherhood to our people. Because if we don't, we can easily end up like Ahab. Read on.
Oh God. Verse 18. And he answered, I have not troubled Israel.
He said, I ain't troubled Israel. Like, for Elijah to even have to say that, for him to have to say, yo, I'm not the one troubling Israel, that's you. You're doing that. Keep going, I ain't going to jump in.
But thou in thy father's house.
He says, but thou in thy father's house. He said, you the problem. You the one that's troubling Israel. You telling us that it's all right to celebrate birthdays. You telling us it's all right to celebrate Christmas and Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day. Keep going.
And that ye have forsaken the commandments of the Lord.
Yeah, what?
Forsaken the commandments of the Lord.
Like, he's telling Ahab, who is king of Israel at the time, like the prophet of God, Elijah, is telling the king of Israel, you have forsaken the commandments of God. Like, you messing up out here. You messing up. You moving the wrong way. That's why we in trouble. And it don't take that many of us, man. Like, when we went into captivity, it was brothers and sisters, man, in the west part of Africa, right? Because we had to leave Jerusalem. We had to leave, you know what I mean, Zion, due to Roman persecution, to flee into West Africa. It was brothers over there that was keeping the commandments over there in West Africa, which was called the Port of Judah at that time. And guess what? Them Africans ain't like that. Those oppressors ain't like that, and neither did them Arabs. That's why they came together, man. That's in Deuteronomy 28 and 68. I can break that down for you as well. It was brothers that was doing the right thing, but we got punished as a whole for what the majority did. And that's how our God works. But he also had mercy enough, man. Mercy enough to have our king die for us, to send his prophets back in 1969. Abba Bibbis, man. You know what I mean? Chief Head Priest, Masha, Ariah, Yaikwa, Shaw, you know what I mean? Kazak, you know what I mean? Lahab, And which is so heavy, man, with the 7 heads and what I.S.U.P. did, man. Like the Lord sent them men back, sent Commander Gen.YAHANNA back, sent us back, which is heavy. Like the priests and prophets of the Lord ain't go nowhere. We didn't go nowhere, man. We still here. We still rocking and rolling. The Lord said in Jeremiah that we would prophesy. The Lord had told Jeremiah, you're going to prophesy against great kingdoms, against nations, man, for the Lord's sake. And it may seem like it's us against the world. It is, because this ain't our world. Right. It's not. This ain't our world. As a matter of fact, keep going, I.S.U.P. 30 more?
Okay.
Keep going.
And thou hast followed Baalim.
And thou hast followed Baalim. Y'all follow Baal. You following Baal right now. You don't want to keep these commandments. You don't want to do what the Lord said to do. It's easy to follow Baal. Because all you got to do is go to church on Sunday, say salami, eggs, and bacon. Muslims believe. I was sitting down, y'all are back there. I was sitting in his class, and they brought out, man, and showed in the Quran and in the hadiths that Muslims gonna go out there and eat pork if they're getting ready to die, or just eat pork, or molest kids, because Muhammad was a damn child molester who raped Aisha when she was married her when she was 6 and raped her when she was 9, man. But those sins are forgiven if 2 Muslims shake each other's hands. I'm not making this up. All Muslims got to do is shake each other's hands, and it don't matter what murder or what sin they did, it's forgiven. That's why Islam and Christianity is garbage. It's garbage. They forsaken the commandments of God. And that's only if you Black or Latino or Native American Indian. And it goes to show you why we're not supposed to be in the church of the Muslim minds to begin with. It ain't helped. It ain't doing nothing for us. Like, goddamn, you dip a homosexual in water, he's gonna come up a wet homosexual. That we need that baptism by fire. And that baptism by fire that Christ was talking about, man, is us coming back in this truth, and I.S.U.P.K and the Commander Gen.YAHANNA, teaching our people that we are the real Jews of antiquity, the Israelites, man. Keep going, I.S.U.P.
Okay. Verse 19. Now therefore, send and gather to me all Israel unto Mount Carmel, and the prophets of Baal 450.
Now, Elijah's about to prove a point. He said, you know what? Y'all want to follow Baal? I got you. It's going to be me. Get like 400 of your prophets of Baal and watch this. Drop down to I.S.U.P. where it says the offering, the deal that they're going to, what they're going to do.
Okay. Verse 23. Let them give us 2 bullocks, and let them choose 1 bullock for themselves, and cut it in pieces, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under. And I will dress the other bullock and lay it on wood, and put no fire under.
He says, this is what we're going to do. We both going to get 2 bullocks, right? We're going to get 2 bulls, 2 rams, put them under fire, cut them up, and we're going to see whose God is going to light this offering up. Read.
Verse 24. And call ye on the name of your gods.
He said, call upon the name of your gods. Call upon them. Call upon Baal. Call upon Allah. Call upon Caesar Borgia. Call upon Buddha. Call upon any what's the African god's name? Call upon Ra. Call upon Geb, all the gay gods of Egypt, and see what happens.
And I will call on the name of the Lord.
I will call upon who?
The name of the Lord.
He said, I will call upon the name of the Lord. He said, I'm going to call upon Yahweh. Go ahead.
And the God that answered by fire, let him be God.
And the God that answered by fire, let him be God. Keep going.
And all that people answered and said, it is well spoken.
It says well spoken. It said, well, everybody was like, con out of one con. That's the deal. Let's see. Keep going.
Verse 25. And Elijah said unto the prophets of Baal, choose you 1 bullock for yourselves and dress it first, for ye are many.
Listen, Elijah, you know what I mean, was so confident. He said, man, why don't y'all go first? Y'all gonna win. Go ahead. Drop down to I.S.U.P. when they start tripping, when they start cutting themselves and everything.
Okay.
Drop down to that. That is always hilarious to me.
Okay. This is the book. This is the book of 1 Kings 18, verse 27.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass at noon that Elijah mocked them.
Oh said, man. I.S.U.P. read up. I want you to read up from that, or what they started to do. Or is it this? Is this? Go ahead. Elijah mocked them because now they're out there. It goes into how long they was out there from morning till evening, or is that above it? Or is it right here?
It's right here.
It's right here. Keep reading. I ain't gonna interrupt you no more. Word. Go ahead.
And it came to pass at noon that Elijah mocked them and said, "Cry aloud, for he is a God."
He said, "Cry aloud, for he is a God." Maybe he can't hear you, but see, he's a God. Cry aloud. Maybe he just can't hear you right now. Go ahead.
Either he is talking or is he pursuing?
He's talking or he's pursuing something. Maybe Baal is chasing tail. maybe he's resting right now. Go ahead.
Or he is in a journey.
He's in a what?
Is in a journey.
God damn, Baal got PTO time like Allah. Allah had PTO time too. Y'all remember when COVID happened? When the Lord sent the coronavirus? They said they had to shut Mecca down for a year, man. Where nobody can make a pilgrimage to Mecca. I was in I.S.U.P.K. I was in a Lyft. I was in a Lyft or Uber to Delaware to teach class. And this Hamite was upset. He was like, brother, this is unacceptable. They do not let us make our pilgrimage to Mecca. They shut down Mecca. I said, damn, Ham, they shut it down? I'm sitting here like, damn, man, they shut it down, huh? You can't go make your pilgrimage. I was like, well, maybe Allah is on a journey. I said, maybe Allah, I said, I got PTO time. I got paid time off. Maybe I didn't know Allah had paid time off too. Elijah is mocking them. He's like, your God, maybe he's on a journey. Maybe he's busy right now. And maybe he in Vegas. Allah's in Vegas. Baal's in Vegas. Caesar Bourgier, he in Cancun right now. Keep going.
Or peradventure, he's sleeping.
He sleep. That's all. He sleep. We like to sleep, right? You become a priest and prophet of God in the U.P.K. orders, put your all black on and become a trooper. You ain't gonna know what that is because it's work to be done. He said, maybe your God is just sleeping. It's all right. Keep going.
And must be awakened.
It must be awakened. He sleep. Man, just yell a little louder. He'll wake up. You could tell Elijah a nigga. Elijah was a Levite brother too, from the tribe of Levi. Just picture a Haitian brother talking trash to a bunch of Africans and a bunch of heathens, man. Just talking trash to them. Keep going.
Verse 28. And they cried aloud.
And they cried louder. Go ahead.
And cut themselves.
They cut themselves. Man, listen, brother. They cut themselves now. Like, Allah, Caesar Bourgier, they cut themselves. Man, Elijah's sitting back and is dying. He's cracking up because he knows something that's happening. He knows there's only one God, which I read earlier. What Christ said, in Mark the 12th chapter, 30th verse. Shema Yasha Allah Yahweh Allah Hayanawa Yahweh God. Our God is one God, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Keep going.
After this manner, with knives and lashes.
They got knives and lashes. They tearing each other up right now, man. Try to hear their God. Go ahead. But their gods don't exist.
Right.
Keep going.
Till the blood gushed out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came to pass, when midday was past.
Now, mind you, they've been out there all day. Elijah been roasting them all day, grinding them up. Go ahead.
And they prophesied unto the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice that there was neither voice nor any to answer, nor any that regarded.
You know why? Because Christianity is garbage. Islam is garbage. That's why you can go in there and celebrate your birthday and celebrate Christmas and do whatever, because God is not in there. And then you wonder why we get punished. You wonder why the things happen to us that happen. But keep going. Read what happens with Elijah and his offering. Skip down to that.
Okay. Verse 31. And Elijah took 12 stones according to the numbers of the 12 of the tribe of the sons of Jacob. Listen,
man, Elijah took 12 stones, man, representing the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, man, Judah all the way down to Issachar. Keep going.
Unto whom the word of the Lord came, saying, Israel shall be thy name.
Israel shall be thy name. Read on.
And with the stones he built an altar in the name of the Lord, and made a trench about the altar, as great as will contain 2 measures of seed. Verse 33. And he put the wood in order, and cut the bullock in pieces, and laid him on the wood, and said, Fill 4 barrels with water, and pour it on the burnt sacrifice and on the wood. Verse 34. And he said, do it a second time. And they did it a second time. And he said, do it a third time. And they did it a third time. Verse 35. And the water ran about the altar. And he filled the trench also with water. Verse 36. And it came to pass at that time of the evening of the offering of the evening sacrifice that Elijah the prophet came near and said, Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and of Israel, let it be known this day that thou art God of Israel.
He said, let it be known this day that thou art God of Israel. Let all of Israel know that's out here that Baal is garbage, that Islam is garbage, that Christianity is garbage. Because all of those different religions will condone you celebrating your birthday. They'll condone you celebrating Christmas and Thanksgiving and any other holiday. But the God of Israel is against all of that garbage. Like I said, they praised Dwayne Wade for being a terrible father to his son, allowing him to be a transformer, be a transgender man. But God is not for that garbage. He said, let them know this day that the God of Israel is the only God. Read on.
And that I am thy servant, and that I have done all these things at thy word.
Understand this. When Elijah did this, it was really just him and the Mosai. It's one brother against 400 prophets of Baal. Goes to show you, man. Goes to show you. And nobody out there respected Elijah. They didn't. Because they respected Baal. They respected Christianity and Islam. It's no different than today. Here's the thing. They don't know. And I don't think our people even realize what they're doing. They have no idea. You look at this big T.D. Jakes church that sits right next door. That's T.D. Jakes church. You think everybody in there that wears a suit and tie is a priest of the Lord. Lo and behold, the crazy niggas with mitris on their head and headpieces and Hebrew Academy covers, these are the real priests and prophets of God.
Right.
Read.
Oh God. Verse 37. Hear me, O Lord. Hear me, that this people may know that thou art the Lord God.
He said that this people may know that thou art the Lord thy God. Why? Because in Isaiah, right, it says, I'll get that. Give me that. Give me Isaiah chapter 30, right? We're going to come right back to it, I. Give me Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 10. Let me read that. Let me get there with you. Let me get there with you, warrior. Give me Isaiah chapter 30. Salakia. Or is it 31? Yeah, give me Isaiah chapter 30, right? Isaiah chapter 30 and verse verse 9. Give me Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 9. Why does stay where you at, I mean, young man Chris gonna get it. Like what the Lord is saying to show this people, right? Why is it saying show us that we have to see it? Because we're the ones that required that sign. Even Christ had to pray and say, Salakia, Lord, you know what I mean? I know we would be asking for this sign, but Israel, we require one. We hard-headed. And it's about to explain. Read Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 9.
This is Isaiah chapter 30, verse 9.
Go ahead.
That this is a rebellious people.
That this is a what?
Rebellious people.
As blacks and Latinos, man, we are rebellious people. We're the same people that saw Moses split the Red Sea. We saw Moses split the Red Sea, walk on the ocean's floor, looking at whales and all other type of beasts that is on the left and the right-hand side. And then times got a little rough in the wilderness, and we wanted to go back to Egypt, where we was in captivity. We are a rebellious people, man. Read on.
Lying children.
Lying children. That is what has become of us. Lying children. Like how our young babies lie because they don't know no better. That's us. Just lying children. Keep going.
Children that will not hear the law of Yahweh.
We don't want to hear the law of the Lord. We don't want to hear the law of the Most High Yahweh. Read on. Because this is what we say and do. Read.
Verse 10. Which say to the seers, see not.
Which say to the seers, you're saying to the priest, see not the sin that I'm doing. Don't see me celebrating my birthday. Don't look at me. And that's why what I went over, right, which was so heavy, right, about the stumbling block. Like if you see a brother in the UPK, like if you just Like it's just even the small things, man. Like if you know a brother is struggling with alcohol, I'm not going to drink around you. I'm not. I don't want that stumbling block to be before you. Like I'm not about to go and chill with my family on the last Thursday in November. Even though I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, turkey is just turkey. I don't even eat turkey on Thanksgiving. I don't, because I love and respect my First Nation and Seminole Indian brothers and sisters too much. I don't want it to be a stumbling block towards them, man. I can't. And it says, which is so heavy, which say to the seers, see not. They saying, don't see me eat this pork. Don't see me eat this crab or this lobster or be a whoremonger or be a transgender transformer or to celebrate my birthday or Halloween. See not. This is what they saying to the priests, you know.
And to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things.
Don't tell us the law. Don't tell us that God hates our holidays, that God hates Christmas and Thanksgiving and our birthdays. Don't tell us that. Read on.
Speak unto us smooth things.
Tell us smooth things. Tell us it's all right. Tell us we all fall short of the glory. Tell us God loves everybody.
Right.
Read on.
Prophesy deceits.
Prophesy deceit. That's why we got to come out the Christian church and the Muslim mosque, and that's why we hate each other, and that's why there ain't no brotherhood in there. That's why you got to come back in this truth and get right. Go back to where you was at, I-Bud.
Oh God. This is the book of 1 Kings 18 and verse 37.
Go ahead.
Hear me, O Lord. Hear me, that this people may know that thou art the Lord God, and that thou hast turned their heart back again.
Now we at least saying, hear me, O Lord, hear. That we can know that who the God of Israel is. That we can know it's Yahweh. That our minds can get turned back to the Most High. Keep going.
Verse 38. Then the fire of the Lord fell.
Ooh-wee. Then that fire of the Lord fell down. Something that the prophets of Baal couldn't do. They couldn't do it. But our God could. Didn't DJ Khaled say God did it? God ain't with that Arab, man, that fat Arab. God is with the priests and prophets of the U.P.K, man. For real. Keep going.
And consumed the burnt sacrifice,
Mm-hmm.
and the wood, and the stone,
Good night.
and the dust,
Mm-hmm.
and licked up the water that was in the trench.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 39. And when all the people saw it, they fell on their faces and said,
Now everybody want to fall on their face and be like, oh, shit. Now we know who the Lord is. Now you know who Yahweh is, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. And he's with the I.S.U.P.K under Commander General YAHANNA. I pray you understand. And let me read about the fate that happened to those prophets of Baal. Go to that, I-Bud.
Verse 40. And he said, and Elijah said unto them, take the prophets of Baal, let not one of them escape.
He said, let not one of them escape. What does that mean? Get rid of them. Kill them. Go ahead.
And they took them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook
Kishon. And let me tell you something, man, which is so heavy, right? You know how we read Psalms 83? And we read about Koyashwan, the brook of Kishon. This is what that's talking about, man. This is what the Lord had Elijah do at the brook of Kishon. We read about it in Psalms 83, I buy. And General Hodge used to always tell us, man. General Hodge would sit in the Sabbath service and tell us, I buy. You remember you was there. Tell us, man, to always go back and read these scriptures, man. Read these scriptures and get that understanding and see what the Lord is talking about and see what David is praying about, man, here. Because this is what happened at the brook of Kishon, where we took the prophets of Baal and did this. Read.
Oh God, and slew them there.
And slew them there. And slew them there. Killed them, man. Now, I'm not telling you to go out there and kill, Muslims and Christians and whatever. No, we ain't supposed to do that. But you know what you are supposed to do? You are supposed to come back into this truth. As a matter of fact, young man Chris, give me 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 15. Let me show you what we are supposed to do. This is what we are supposed to do as the Lord's chosen people. And give me John chapter 13 and verse 34, man. Okay. John chapter 13 and verse 34. But let me get 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 15. We ain't got to go out and kill nobody now. We ain't got to go out and do that now. We don't have to. But this is what we are required to do, man. Because of the mercy that our King gave us that grace to get ourselves together, to still keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, and that faith in our King, we are required to do this much. Let me get the book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 15.
Romans chapter 2, verse 15.
And this is something that no fake Israelite can answer because they broke their oath. This is something no pastor and no imam can answer. Only the priests and prophets of the U.P.K know it, man, because we live it. We do it under command of General Yahanna. Read.
Therefore, brethren, stand fast.
Therefore, brethren, stand fast. Stand fast meaning stand strong in this truth, man. You a young brother coming in here, man, aspiring to become a trooper, man. Put your all black on. That headband and the boots and that scarf, man. Stand fast. Stand strong for the Most High. Read on.
And hold the traditions.
And hold what?
The traditions.
And hold the traditions. What are the traditions? The same traditions that was passed from Adam all the way down to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You know what I mean? To Moses and Joshua and Jeremiah and Isaiah and Malachi and Baruch, Zephaniah, and to our King Yahawashi Mashiach, to Peter and John and Paul. Common concept, shalom to the Lord of Christ. The same things, man, that was passed on down to the priests and prophets of old, man. We still hold them now and uphold the traditions, which is the same tradition when we were holding back then out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under command of General Yahanna. We still doing it to this day in the I.S.U.P.K under command of General Yahanna, and only here. Read on.
Which ye have been taught, whether by word or our epistle.
Whether by word or our epistle. Whether by word or our epistle, man. Whether it comes out of this Bible, man. And it was taught, you know what I mean, passed down orally as well, man. You know what I mean, by the word or by epistle. Meaning it was taught, you know what I mean, the Abba Bibbins, you know what I mean, from the slaves and sharecroppers that he was the son of, man. And he passed it down to Marshal and Yaquab and Ariah and Lahab and Kazak and Yeshaya, man, the chief high priest, was passed down to Commander General Yahanna, who's upheld this truth and still holding it down, man. 1 West ain't die, 1 West ain't fold, 1 West ain't go nowhere. We still rocking and rolling, man. Right here in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We still doing it. And this is how you know who the real priests and prophets of God are. And I'm going to close out with this scripture. I'm going to close in class a little earlier. Let me get one last one, Ibad. Let me get John chapter 13 and verse 34.
Okay. This is the book of John, 13 and verse 34. A new commandment I give unto you.
Christ is saying, this is a new commandment I give unto you. What is that new commandment I give unto you? Christ is being sarcastic here, man. Because what he's getting ready to bring out is something that we always knew. It's been written down. It's been documented. Read.
That ye love one another.
That ye what?
That ye love one another.
That ye love one another. Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Keep going.
As I have loved you.
As I have loved you. And Christ loved us so much that he gave up his life for us. Christ gave up his life. Young man, Chris, I'm going to get one more, Ibad. So lock it. Hold 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 17. Keep going, Ibad.
Okay. That ye also love one another.
We're supposed to love one another as blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women, man. We're supposed to give that love back to one another. And we know that love is keeping the commandments, man. Keep going.
Verse 35. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples.
That's how you're going to know that the real disciples are the priests and prophets in the Israelite School of U.P.K under command of General Yahanna. Read on.
If ye have loved one to another.
If ye have what?
Love one to another.
If ye have what?
Love one to another.
That's how you know who the real priests and prophets of God are. If you have love one to another. We're the only ones under command of General Yahanna in this I.S.U.P.K that have love towards one another. All these fake Israelites are talking about, oh, we can't wait for the 2/3 to die. We can't wait for this, that, and the third. Now, the scriptures do say the 2/3 got to go. But we pray in the U.P.K that the Lord has mercy. Like how we had mercy with Moses, man, in Israel. The Lord was going to make a nation out of Moses, man. But the Moses said, Lord, remember Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We pray the Lord turns from that wrath, man, and spares every black, Latino, and First Nation man and woman from that fate, man. That's what makes us different. That's how you know that we are the disciples of Christ, that we are the priests and prophets of God, man. I'm going to close out with this. Let me 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 17. If it ain't no questions online or no questions in the room. Read what you got, warrior.
1 Peter chapter 2, verse 17.
Go ahead.
Honor all men.
Honor what?
All men.
The scriptures say to honor all men. Honor all men, man. Meaning this, be respectable. Be honorable towards all men. And when it says all men, even the heathen too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Unless they mess with you or do whatever. You know what I mean? Don't just be going out, yeah, oppressor, you the devil, the Bible. Nah. Right. Scripture say to honor all men. Be at peace with all men. Right. But especially honor your brother. Right. Honor your sister, man. Be kindly affectionate one to another, like we read out earlier, man. Honor all men. Read on.
Love the brotherhood.
Love the what?
Brotherhood.
You got to love this brotherhood. You got to love the I.S.U.P.K and the Commander GEN.YAHANNA so much that you don't just keep the brotherhood in here in class and online. You keep it out there in the world with our brothers and sisters that's not here yet. That's a requirement. Read on.
Fear God.
Fear God. Too many of our people fear the oppressor. You fear Bill, Bob, Fred, Susan, Walt, and Joe, and Craig, and Mike. You got to fear God. You got to fear Yahweh. Read on.
Honor the king.
Honor the king. Honor Yahweh Shai. Because of Yahweh Shai's sacrifice, our king, our Lord. Because our king gave up his life, we have that grace to change our lives, to turn back to our God and love the Most High with all thy mind and thy strength and thy soul, and to love thy neighbor, meaning love thy brother as thyself. With that being said, I am priest and officer of 1000 Yediah. This was the Tuesday night Brotherhood class, man. For Wilder for coming through, tuning in online, coming to class. Make sure every Monday you tune in to Commander General Yahanna Black Watch News every Monday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Commander General Yahanna break it down so heavy, man. Tune in also, you know what I mean, to Ask Ye the Prophets. 12 Shield General Mayaka Allah. You know what I mean? Breaking it down heavy. Ask You the Prophets. Send your questions to AskYouTheProphets@gmail. Don't matter what it is. If it's a biblical question, a question about life or whatever, send it to General Mayaka. Ask You the Prophets. We'll get to it. Tune in to Let a Hebrew Speak, man. Let a Hebrew Speak with 12 Shield General Hazayan from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Either with 12 Shield General Hazayan or 6 Shield General Katham Gabar. You know what I mean? A priest officer of 5,000 Marat, or my brother, priest officer of 500 Bahaya. They hold it down, let a Hebrew speak, man. Tune in to Crossing Line Radio with Captain Tazariak and Captain Katazar every Thursday from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Tune in to One West Radio on the West Coast with my big brothers, man. Priest and Captain 13 Stacks, the Doll Hall, Priest and Captain 10 Stacks, Crumble Hall, big bro, priest and officer of 5,000 Double Wine, doing great work on the West Coast, man. And with that being said, also, too, 12 Shield General Muhammad, right, will be teaching the class in Mexico. Give that a hand this Thursday, man. This Thursday, General Muhammad, man, going to be going live with my brother, Yashikar Ban Yashikar, priest and officer of 500, Yashikar Ban Yashikar. I believe officer of 5 Stacks, officer of 5,000, Kazak Yada be on there too. General Muhammad going to be teaching that class from Mexico out here. Tune into that, man, so General Muhammad can give that breakdown on the Mexicans and Issachar, because the so-called Mexicans today are the tribe of Issachar, man. Nosotros somos familia. We are family, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, and we gathering ourselves together the way the scriptures say to do in the I.S.U.P.K under Commander General Yahanna, where blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians come back together to serve our God the only way, the way that's one West. And with that being said, I'm going to pass the class off to priest and officer of 500. Ibad Hayat.
Your priest and officer Yediah, 1,000 strong hand.
Sign Christ. Sign Christ.
Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge Security Announcements. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Start out at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Under Commander GEN.YAHANNA, rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves in the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must have permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months when the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. 5, which is a commandment, found in the book of Numbers, 18, verse 21. In the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. I.S.U.P.K means 10th in Hebrew, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the teacher. Priest on food offering for priests, not mandatory, but ceremonial like upcoming holy convocations is the Feast of Dedication or Hanukkah, which is going to be on the 25th day of the 9th month by the space of 8 days. It will start on December 17th, Saturday, 2022 for 8 days. That's Sunday. It's found in the book of First Maccabees chapter 4, verses 52 to 61. Remind Akim and Agwakim to strike a bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black. Boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf with that. I bought you, which means to stand.
Please do voice, please.
This is the Lord's Prayer in the Ibaria for the Hebrew. Star upon the Wapagami, turn to face the east. This is the Lord's Prayer in the Ibaria for the Hebrew.
Abanawa, Shabashimaya, Kodash, Ayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Abaa, Adizayaka, Ayah, Aisha, Baratusa, Kawo, Ayah, Bashimaya, Nathanael, Lakam, Kal, Yawam, Wasalak Lanau, Kabawaf now, Kasalak now, Kabawaf Yanau, Wala'a, Wabi'ai now, Manasai 1, Abo, Awashai now, Mayan, Rad, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Wala'ala, Watapara, Awalaya, Aman. We said in English was our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. So be it.
Man of Israel, silent sisters need to be seated. Man of Israel, we'll give one phrase to salute. Man of Israel, I.S.U.P.K, Rock.
How about Shem Yahushua Barakatham?
That's some time, he says down. Sorry, turn to sisters. Sisters at Majin, your Majin Shabbat, your head, body covered, your feet connected to the 45-degree angle, your right hand left over your left. And when we say Rock, we salute. Man of Israel, we'll give the sisters one phrase to salute. Man of Israel, I.S.U.P.K. Rock,
Yahweh Shamar Alatham by Shem Yahushua.
That's the top. You say that.